What's up and welcome to the Sam Dracula channel, Charlotte Hornets fan channel. I appreciate you guys coming through and checking out this video. This video is all about the state of the center position for the Charlotte Hornets. Now, things aren't all bad, okay? Hornets are one game above 500 on a 3-game win streak. Just beat the Warriors last night. We have a 2-day break, so I thought between streams, between podcasts, I'd make a video just talking about the center spot because 1 month from now, I think things, the rumors, the trade possibilities will start flowing. I'm getting to all that in this video. And by the thumbnail and title, you can tell kind of where I'm going. I'm looking at you, Mo Bamba. I'm looking at you, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. Our Charlotte Hornets are undermanned and undersized at the center position, right? As of right now, things are just fine, but they could be much better if they decide to dip into the trade market. All right, starting off with the bigs, right? The tallest people on the team. Jalen McDaniels notwithstanding, he's not a center. Mason Plumlee and Nick Richards. Start with Plumlee, all right? For him, first off, he's doing a fine job. Like, I think it's the good with the bad. You know, it's the reason the Pistons traded him. I think he's still an improvement over Zeller and Biz, but it can be frustrating at times because of how he's targeted by the other team. Guards and bigs alike, doesn't matter. Everyone seems to be going after Plumlee off rip, which puts us in it becomes an issue early on. I think that's where we see a lot of the first quarter deficits come from. Attacking Plumlee off rip in the first half, those first 6 minutes of the first quarter. It can be a problem, and depending on the matchup. And because of that, I think he's more suited for the second unit. Like if the Hornets have an opportunity to bring in a new starting center, I think Plumlee in the second unit is good. I like that. He could play 20 minutes a game right now because the Hornets right now do not have two centers that can play 20 minutes a game. That's not a thing that exists in this current roster. The worst teams in the league have centers that can play 20 plus minutes. The Hornets do not. Nick Richards is around 8 minutes per game, and Mason Plumlee is a starter. There's a huge divide there. There's opportunity there to improve that, right? Either as with a new starter or another big to bridge that gap between Plumlee and Richards, because I do like Richards. I really do. As a bottom of rotation big, I think he's fine. He's there to do the dirty work, rebounds, some interior defense, and dunks. That's it. Like Mason, he doesn't shoot, which is an issue when the shots are falling. We can't turn to one of the guys on the floor to get a bucket. You know, Mason can dish the ball a little bit, but that's not really Nick's thing either. So that's where I mean undermanned. When I say undermanned, this is what I'm referring to. That's why we're having issues on the rebounding battle on an almost nightly basis. That's why we're having other bigs have good games against us because we can't match up with a lot of teams in the front court. When I say undersized, I'm talking about over here. I'm talking about these guys. Miles and PJ find themselves playing a small ball 5 at times. We saw PJ do it a lot last year. We saw Miles do it last night in very quick athletic lineups, which, you know, I'm all for different looks. Never mad at that. And so just because they can do it doesn't mean they should be doing it. And I think that's where we find ourselves, where we have to rely on our guys in crunch time lineups going small. So PJ showed a lot of promise as a small ball 5 last year and even this year before the injury. Miles is capable at it. Terry Rozier's winning jump balls. Like, we're getting by. We're getting by without an elite center, right? But, man, it doesn't have to be this difficult. It doesn't have to be. All right, so before I get into the trades and all that, I have to say off top here that this team is good as is, right? The Hornets don't need to rush and to bring somebody in to try to save their season or anything like that. This team's ceiling, I believe, is a 6 seed, right? If they make a trade or two along the way to balance out the roster a little better, they can accomplish that 6 seed goal in a much easier fashion than how things currently stand. If they really go for it, they can do much better than a 6 seed. But again, if nothing happens, which I think is the most likely outcome, for the record, I don't think the Hornets make any trades this year. If everything holds and the Hornets end up a 6 seed, I'll be thrilled with that. That is not an issue with me whatsoever. If this team can avoid the play-in by like all together, I'm about it. I'm here for it. So I hope Kupchak and the rest of the front office really examine this closely because time's ticking for two reasons. The first reason is in the middle of December 15th, players signed in the previous offseason, are then eligible to be traded. That's going to open things up. It's going to open things up a ton for the Hornets and every other team to put together different trade packages that they can't do currently, right? So hypothetically, if the Hornets are able to put together a trade package that other teams couldn't, now's the time to strike, because it's going to be more competitive, more difficult when we get into December. The second reason is the trade market, I think, is going to be a seller's market, meaning there's way more demand than supply. So the leverage is all on the bottom feeders, I would say, the teams that aren't in the mix, right? We're talking for sure the Pistons and Magic, and then for sure the Pelicans and Rockets. You could maybe throw the Spurs, Wolves, and Kings or Thunder in there. Maybe. I think in the Eastern Conference, teams like obviously the Bucks won't be 11 seed, right? The Eastern Conference can shake out differently as the season goes on. So I want to look at potential trade partners. The Hornets acquiring a guy that can help us in the playoff run. None of the teams that are in the mix are going to give a guy like that up without getting something big in return, right? It's just going to make it more difficult, and especially this early in the season. I don't want to predict anything like that or look at anything like that. I think the simplest thing to do right now in November is look at the bottom feeders. I'm talking about the Pistons, Magic, the Pelicans, and the Rockets, and see what fits, what could work with the Hornets. Because, for instance, the Pacers, 6-8, 2 games below 500 right now. They're gonna be in the mix throughout the year. So when I look at Miles Turner, I don't see a scenario where they give him up easily, right? I think the asking price is gonna be way too high. Versus a player on the Pistons, Magic, Pelicans, or Rockets. Those guys are, I think, more gettable, right? The price tag might not be as high, although the demand may still be very high. I think those teams would be more willing to trade their better players. That's kind of the balance we're trying to strike here. Not trying to hot take anybody, but I think we can all agree the 4 worst teams in the league: Pelicans, Rockets, Magic, and Pistons, okay? Those teams have guys on them that can help a lot of different teams around the league. And I'm just gonna go through each of those teams and talk about who I would like to see come to Charlotte and what I'm looking for at the center spot, right? I don't want this team to do any deals that don't include a center coming to Charlotte. I'm not here for it. I'm not entertaining it. That needs to be priority one. So in a center, I'm looking for somebody that can guard their position, right? That can defend the other team's center. That's first and foremost. I'm sick of the mismatches. I'm sick of the abuse. I need a guy who can match up against the other team's big. It's not going to be every opponent. This is not going to be the case for every opponent, right? There are guys like Embiid, Jokic, or Cat. They're going to cause mismatch problems all the time, no matter who their opponent is. I'm talking about like the remaining 95% of the league, not the top tier guys. Rebounding is the second one, right? 1 and 2 are very closely together. I'm sick of losing the rebound battle. Same thing with the mismatch things, the mismatch issues we encounter. Rebounding is a top priority. This Hornets team takes a lot of shots. They concede a lot of open shots. We got to clean up the boards. We're offering way too many second chance opportunities, third chance opportunities for the other team. The third priority is a much lower priority than the other two. It's definitely a nice to have element, skill set, and that's being able to stretch the floor just a little bit, because Mason and Nick aren't bringing that to the table at all. And I want it just to keep the other team honest. When Mason Plumlee has the ball and his chest is facing the backboard, right, and he's outside the paint, the other team can give him all the space in the world. Same thing with Nick Richards. They're going to sag off. I need a guy that's 6'10", 6'11", 7 feet, somewhere in that ballpark, that has to keep the other team honest. That's it. He doesn't have to shoot a bunch, but just has to, I want a guy who can draw his defender out to the top of the key, because that's going to help everybody else out. Also, whoever the Hornets trade for in this fake scenario, they don't need to be a starter, right? I just need more depth and more options to fix the undermanned issue we have here. We're not getting anything from Vernon Carey. He's going back and forth between Charlotte and Greensboro. I think that's going to continue throughout the year. Kai Jones, maybe. I've seen no signs of him touching the floor anytime soon. So as far as I'm concerned, there's only 2 bigs on the team, Mason and Nick. That's not enough. So the Hornets don't need to go all in on a superstar, all in on a really good player. As long as they bring in a guy who can help out the rotation, can play 20 minutes when needed, that'd be useful. And then, of course, they can address the center position in the offseason. But this season, they need another guy that can play 20 minutes a night. I'm sorry, they do. I have some honorable mentions that I'm going to mention that kind of fit that bill. Guys that can improve the rotation, that maybe could be acquired for a second-round pick and a contract, something like that. Nothing too crazy. On the other end of the spectrum, we're talking the bigger players like Mo Bamba on the thumbnail and that. Guys like PJ are going to have to go the other way, right? So I'm going to talk about it as we go through. It's not an indictment on PJ Washington or any other player I mentioned. It's just that's how trades work. You got to give somebody up to get somebody back, right? I love PJ Washington. I hope he stays here, but that's just something that needs to be done in order to bring another player in. I think PJ's contract and skill set and his upside make him very tradable. Just got to go on the record with that. Now let's get into it. I'm gonna start with the Pistons. First off, their website's really annoying because I can't show the whole team at the same time. So I'm just gonna scroll and talk as we do this. But Kelly Olynyk's sitting right here. I like Kelly Olynyk. He can score a bit, he can rebound a bit, he can play some defense, right? I love that he has big time playoff experience. Plus, he's not afraid to fight somebody. I like that. I like that a lot. Also, Eric Collins will have a lot of fun with 2 Kellys on the team. I want to acknowledge Isaiah Stewart here as another honorable mention. I like his game a lot. I just have no idea what it'll take to get him from the Pistons. Plus, he's a little shorter than what I'm looking for in the center spot, even though he kind of plays bigger than his size indicates. I think we do a little better than Isaiah Stewart. Sorry. So with the Pistons out the way, let's focus on the Rockets and Christian Wood. I like a lot of what he can offer. He reminds me of what Kai Jones could be. And imagine in a few years, 2 of Christian Wood's running around. That could be really dope, right? I want to give an honorable mention though to Daniel Tice, another guy with a lot of playoff experience. He can do a lot of different things offensively and defensively. Plus, his annual cap commitment isn't too bad. It's a little long for my taste. It's around $9 million a year for the next 3 years. I don't know if I want to be married to Daniel Tice that long, but he's a guy who can help that rotation. The point of this and having Christian Wood on my screen is that, and this is a guy I would trade PJ for. It's not something I'd be over the moon about. I think there are better options, which I'll get to in a little bit here. But Wood's an athletic big that we hope Kai Jones will be. And the idea of a few years having 2 Christian Woods or 2 Kai Jones running around the floor, catching lobs from LaMelo and hitting threes like that's pretty appealing, if I do say so myself. That's why he's on the list. Not my favorite option, but I wouldn't mind Christian Wood in Charlotte. What you think? Christian Wood can rebound. He can score in 3 levels. He's not much of a defensive guy, a rim protector. I think it's an upgrade overall. And I think he could start for this team at the 5 and get those big minutes, the Mason Plumlee minutes for the most part. Christian Wood's not the biggest center in the world. He's going to get bullied. He gets bullied. But we got Mason Plumlee if we need more beef. We could bring him off the bench onto the floor to offer a different look when needed. Nick Richards, same thing. I think those 3 guys can coexist in the same rotation together. And it'll be an upgrade overall. They'll lift the whole team up. And for the Rockets, they got Şengün. They don't need Christian Wood anymore. What were we saying? That's enough of the Rockets. Let's move on to my second favorite option. Jonas Valanciunas from the Pelicans. This dude is playing off his mind right now. Honorable mentions, real quick though, to Jackson Hayes, a guy I liked a lot coming out of college. Hasn't really put it together as a pro, but maybe there's some upside there. Maybe the Hornets can get him on the low. And our guy, Hernan Gomez, is on the Pelicans roster. I didn't mind Hernan Gomez when he was with the Hornets 3 years ago. So, a second round pick here and there, maybe get something like that done. But the main guy, the main focus I want to focus on for this video, and I would hope the Hornets would focus on, is Valanciunas. He's a real target here. I mean, he's everything we need. He can hold his own defensively. He'll struggle against smaller players with it. I'll allow it. He's not going to be the perfect option on all facets of the game, right? He's shooting 57% from 3. 57% from 3. with 13 rebounds per game. I know the Pelicans are bad, and you're going to have guys like that. Good guys, bad team, putting up numbers. Tale as old as time. But those percentages don't lie. And that shooting from that position, along with that rebounding and interior defense, it's a nice little package. You can see that. You can see him playing next to Bridges, Hayward, Terry, and LaMelo in that starting lineup. It fits perfectly. Like, look at this. This is Valanciunas. This is outrageous. That's insane. That right there is crazy. I want that here. Give me some of that. What I think makes this trade difficult is his contract. It's $14 million this year, 14 next year, and 15 the third year in 23-24. The Hornets, it's tough to find that value and contract match to make a deal work between the two teams. So if the Hornets wouldn't want to do something like this, you'd have to be involved. You have to get other teams involved, I believe, which is he's really used to being part of multi-team deals. This is one of the deals that, like, if the Hornets could somehow pull this off, acquiring him this year, is something that I would do a lap around Uptown for out of excitement. Like, this would take this team to another level. I think we're 6th seed easily with Valanciunas here in Charlotte. So like Christian Wood, I think PJ would have to be involved in the deal. So I was playing around with the trade machine to try to figure out what the Hornets would have to give up to get him. I know PJ would have to be in the deal, but to make the contracts are too tough. And also, I was looking at the Pelicans subreddit, and they love him there. So that's a good sign. Just saying. No one's eager to see him leave town, which is a plus, an added like wrinkle into this that makes you feel good if somehow the Hornets acquire him, you know? Mo Bamba, Orlando Magic, let's go. Let's do it. Bamba for PJ, straight up. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. No. The Magic are going nowhere this season, right? And they're faced with a decision to make this summer, whether to pay Mo Bamba. Like Miles, Bamba didn't agree to an extension with his team, so he was entering restricted free agency. I think Mo Bamba's gonna make some money this summer. I don't know if the Magic want to play that game. PJ has one more year remaining on his rookie deal, so it kind of resets their clock as a franchise. Plus, I think PJ's better than Mo Bamba. It's just a positional like shift in the rotation. That's the real appeal here. If you put these guys in like a draft, I'm taking PJ over Mo Bamba every time. But for what this Hornets team currently sits at and the needs they have at center, Mo Bamba's a better center than PJ Washington. So it's something that I would heavily consider if I'm running this team. The Magic, they have Robin Lopez, they have Wendell Carter Jr. They're not pressed for centers like we are. So they have plenty of guys. 2 guys though, by the way, Lopez and Carter, I like a lot as well. And again, kind of like with Isaiah Stewart or with Olynyk or Daniel Tice, you know, there wouldn't be top priorities, top trade targets for me, but guys I'd welcome in Charlotte to improve the rotation overall. And I wouldn't trade PJ for those guys. I would trade PJ for Mo Bamba. I would trade him for Valanciunas and maybe Christian Wood. And, you know, because I don't love the idea of trading PJ away, I wouldn't put any picks in it. I would call up Orlando and be like, PJ for Mo Bamba straight up. Take it or leave it. That'd be my trade. Because they made their choice of Wendell Carter. They extended him, didn't extend Bamba. So it's just, it seems like they're heading that direction. I don't know if this is because it's a contract year for him, but he's 3rd in the league in blocks. 17 of the rebounds. Like, what are we saying? Come on, that's really appealing. And then like Valanciunas, you can see how that fit with what we have going on here. He slots right in there, and it would work nicely. Plus, him and Kai Jones got that Texas thing. Could be cool. Could be really cool. So imagine rotation of LaMelo, Terry, Hayward, Bridges, Bamba, Oubre, Martin, Plumlee with Smith, McDaniels, Richards, and he still got the rookies if they ever play. That rotation sounds kind of nice. It sounds kind of nice. I can't front. I like it. It sounds good in my ears, and I think it works on paper. And I think this team is good enough to make it work on the court as well. So I didn't mention any of the big dogs like Towns or Aiden or anything like that, because I don't think it's very realistic, especially this early in the season, unless those guys really demand to leave. And even then, I don't know if they choose, either of them choose to come to Charlotte. We got to like lower our sights a little bit as a franchise at this stage. But who knows? Also, just for the record, I have no interest in Marvin Bagley or Bol Bol. I'm good on that. The guy I really want, that's not one of the big dogs, is Richaun Holmes. He can't be traded to December 15th. If the Kings are dipping, maybe. His contract is very team friendly. I think it's like $10 million a year for something like the next 4 years, something like that. Like, it's not bad at all. Look at this guy's numbers, man. 14 and 11, 67 from the field, 66 from three. Come on. 88 from the line. Come on. Mo Bamba would be cool, but Richaun Holmes is the guy I want. Let's make that happen. Hopefully, please. Mitch, please get him here. Get him to Charlotte. But I need to reiterate this, okay? I know this is a video about trades and improving the team and making deals and that, but if the Hornets do nothing, I still believe if everything goes their way, this team could be a 6 seed. It's a very good team, a very strong team, a very strong-willed team with a lot of talent. And so they don't have to operate from a position of desperation or anything like that, the Hornets. They can wait and only do a deal they feel makes the most sense. They don't need to rush anything, and nor should they. I just want them to consider their options as a fan, because the players I mentioned that can help us, that can also help a lot of other teams, and those other teams may move a little quicker than the Hornets when it comes to making deals, right? That's just something I just want to be mindful of as a fan, and hopefully just kind of put that out there into the universe. But this squad is solid. The only question mark for me is like, when are we seeing Kai Jones? When are we seeing James Bouknight? That'll be a video for another night though. But listen, I appreciate every single one of you that come through, check out this video, the live streams, the podcast, etc. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. I've been Sam, you've been great. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.